So too many times as adults, we knock kids for having irrational thoughts. And in doing so, we fail to realize that irrational thinking can be good. Have you ever had a great idea and then didn't pursue it because society told you it was irrational? That it didn't make sense or it just wouldn't work? You see, kids aren't burdened with the idea that something can't be done or just won't work. But unfortunately, the more knowledge we gain about history and the more we learn about failures, we become burdened as adults. Historically, kids learn from adults. But why shouldn't we have a paradigm shift where adults start learning from kids? After all, kids have such an audacity of hope. They have bold ideas and high expectations. And what is wrong with all of that? As adults, we oftentimes crush our kids while trying to protect them and do what's right for them. In an effort to keep them from failing, oftentimes we set the bar super low and then steer them away from their enormously lofty goals. However, children are super moldable humans who will instinctively try to meet expectations. So by keeping expectations low in an effort to help kids avoid failure, we're basically setting them up for failure. And what is wrong with failure anyway? I would agree that outside of eating, breathing, and sleeping, the number one thing we do in our lives is fail. But that's not a bad thing. See, just about every great success story begins with failure or multiple failures. Well, if that's the case, then why do we view the word fail as bad? Because as children, it was beat into our brains by adults that failing was the worst thing we could do. Allow me to share a story from this fall when I was in our driveway with my 6-year-old daughter, Jenna, and she was trying to shoot a basketball into a regulation-sized basket. I think back to her determination that I saw on her face as she pushed that ball to the sky with all of her might as hard as she could, and it fell about 7 feet short of the rim. Then she'd grab the ball again and she'd get a little closer and jump a little higher and push a little harder, only to see the ball fall about 6.5 feet short of the rim this time. So what did she do next? She grabbed the ball again, this time with more determination than ever. Now, I could have told her to save her energy and not keep trying because as an adult, I knew there was no way she was ever going to make that ball reach the rim. But this had nothing to do with what was and wasn't physically possible. This had everything to do with maximum effort in the face of failure. So my response to little Jenna after each miss was, "Oh man, that was so close," or "That was the closest one yet. Grab that ball and try it again." Now, while she didn't make a basket that day, someday she certainly will. So let's quickly switch gears to a grammar school playground. The scene is typically something like this. A few kids are running around, laughing, playing tag. Other children are taking turns flying down the slide with their hands in the air. Those that are on the swings are kicking their feet up to the air while they soar up into the sky. And suddenly a butterfly floats by and a group of kids start screaming with joy and they begin to chase it around. What none of these kids are thinking about while they are fully engaged in playtime is their homework and their tests or their chores or how fancy their clothes are, what's for dinner. They are fully consumed with one thing and one thing only, which is having fun during recess. So here's my challenge to you today. Learn a lesson from this kids ed class. Don't stop dreaming or believing things are possible because somebody else said so. Don't lower your expectations because somebody else said you couldn't do more. Don't fear failure. Instead, fight through it. Work harder and know that someday your efforts will pay off. And when you're on recess, don't think about anything else. Just relax and play like a kid again. Harness your inner kid. Keep things simple. Dream big. Work hard and play hard.